Part 86. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 851. As far as I know. Those words Lei Kong said are all true. Wu Bingqing said, this time, before entering Qinghua College, I also had a general understanding that the era of spiritual energy recovery seems to be coming. This will be a big change for all sections. Say it. Everyone present was silent for a while. They can roughly feel it too. At this time, Wu Bingqing had no need to lie. In this case, Qinglai Palace will definitely show its full strength in the baptism of Tianyan. This is not a good thing for these sects. Let's go. I think there is no need to be so pessimistic. Nothing is difficult in this world, except for those who are willing. As long as we unite as one, we might not be able to fight against the Qinglai Palace. I saw that everyone was a little depressed. Xiao Xian said directly, is it possible that his Qinglai Palace is so invincible? I can't see it. Wu Bingqing also nodded and said, indeed, in Qinghua College, you may be the only one qualified to speak like this. Having said that, but what I have to say is, I feel that there seems to be nothing to be afraid of in this Qinglai Palace. Is it possible that their strength is really incredible? Xiao Xian smiled. You really don't know why you have such confidence. Wu Bingqing couldn't help but shake her head after hearing Xiao Xian's words. Confidence. This has nothing to do with self-confidence, it has nothing to do with strength. Xiao Xian said, although Qinglong Lei Kong is not weak in strength, if everyone gets the energy of the baptism of Tianyan this time and enters the Blue God realm, wouldn't some problems be solved easily? Blue God realm. What relies on is the understanding of the Great Road. Perhaps, after reaching that state, it will be time for them to shorten the gap with Lei Kong. Then go in. But speaking of it, I am not that familiar with Tianyan baptism. Perhaps, you should play more roles in it. Xiao Xian said. Forget it. If I remember correctly, you said the same thing when you were in Qinglian Valley, but what was the result? Wu Sheng shook his head and said. He knew that Xiao Xian was a capable person. If he had any shortcomings, it would be that he was too modest. Obviously it was something that Xiao Xian was capable of, but he would show an extremely humble look. This is definitely an attitude that ordinary people would not have. At least, it can be seen from Qinglong and Lei Kong just now. These talented disciples will show such strong confidence when facing ordinary people. Certainly. It is undeniable. Their performance is enough to prove that they do have talent in this area. However, what Wu Sheng and Mensu know better is that the talent of Xiao Xian beside them at the moment is not at all lower than those two people. Hey. Then let's talk. There is a Skyflame beast in the Skyflame pond. Skyflame beasts are divided into different grades according to their body size. The larger the body, the higher the grade. Wu Bingqing said, generally speaking, when we face Skyflame beasts of different levels, we will choose the siege attack method. In addition, Skyflame beasts cannot use Taoism, so Skyflame beasts basically pose no threat unless, a big guy who has reached 5 stars or above in the Blue God realm. So, if you encounter a Skyflame beast, how should you hunt it? Xiao Xian was indeed a complete novice. As long as the Skyflame beast dies in your hands, the Skyflame essence will float out of it, Wu Sheng added. Then how can we find a bigger Skyflame beast? Finding a large Skyflame beast should be better than finding a group of ordinary Skyflame beasts, right? Xiao Xian roughly understood. He remembered that in order to be baptized by the 8 dragons, it seemed that all he needed was more Tianyan essence. And at this moment, if you want to get more heavenly eye essence, there seems to be only one way to get a 5-star Skyflame beast in the Blue God realm. Ask this question. In this way, entering the Blue God realm is a matter of course. In other words, they found a sky flame beast of this level, but they didn't have the ability to kill each other. Listening to this, Xiao Xian is planning to seize a sky flame beast with a 5-star level or above in the Blue God realm. Mensu said suddenly. Wu Bingqing was also secretly surprised. After entering the baptism of Tianyan, they will take the initiative to join the group to keep warm, which is the reason for win-win cooperation. If we hunt a sky flame beast of this level this time, we in Snow Wolf Valley won't even want a share of the sky flame essence. Based on what he learned before. Good. If we cooperate, it shouldn't be a problem to kill a sky flame beast of this level, right? Since everyone is here, why not set a higher goal for yourself? Maybe you can take this opportunity to become the first person to be baptized by the 8 dragons. These are also many sects. Xiao Xian naturally understood this. This is the most dangerous thing. Everyone present also somewhat understood what he meant. Capture such a sky flame beast? He also had to protect the heavenly eye essence he had obtained when facing other elite disciples. Wu Sheng stood up and said, maybe we can hunt down a 5-star sky flame beast in the Blue God realm. More importantly, Wu Sheng and Mensu looked at each other. They are all considered genius disciples in their respective sects. I'm not afraid either, Wu Bingqing smiled. Xiao Xian and I are both from Qinghua College, so we will naturally support him. The heavenly flame baptism is isolated from the outside world. Let alone take away your heavenly flame essence. Even if I kill you, no one will know about it. Brother Xiao Xian is right. To be honest, they were also interested in a sky flame beast of this level, and they had also thought about taking this opportunity. Mensu guessed what Xiao Xian was thinking. Sky flame beasts with 5 stars or above in the Blue God realm are very cunning. They either hide in the depths of the sky flame pond, or are surrounded by many sky flame beasts to protect them. If they want to kill such, it's not easy for the sky flame beast. This shows that they have not found the sky flame beast that is above 5 stars in the Blue God realm. Our current strength. In addition to defeating a powerful sky flame beast. Every time he was baptized by the heavenly flame, among the various sects, he had the best result with the baptism by the 7 dragons. However, this kind of thing is not as simple as talking about it and wanting to achieve such an achievement. Xiao Xian suddenly asked. It's not that simple. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 852. Ah! Is your Snow Wolf sect so generous? Xiao Xian was stunned. He really didn't expect Mensu to be so generous. A piece of cake. Even if it is, it's a reward for the treatment you gave me last time. Mensu turned her head and glanced at Wu Sheng. You think so? After being glanced at by Mensu, Wu Sheng's face suddenly felt a little embarrassed. He knew what Mensu meant. Mensu was hinting at what he encountered in Qinglian Valley. At that time, it was within the Qinglian Valley. If it weren't for Xiao Xian's presence, Wu Sheng, Mensu and the others would have lost their lives long ago. At this moment, Mensu voluntarily gave up the Sky Flame Beast essence as a reward for Xiao Xian, and she was also hinting at Wu Sheng. That's what I thought too. Wu Sheng looked embarrassed. Does he know the character of this woman Mensu? Hot and straightforward. If he didn't express his position, maybe Mensu would directly tell what happened in the Qinglian Valley at that time. Losing your reputation is a small thing. Maybe, he will lose face in Mingzhou territory from now on. For such a situation, Wu Sheng still made the most generous choice and expressed his willingness to give up the Sky Flame Beast essence this time to Xiao Xian. This time. On the contrary, Xiao Xian was a little embarrassed. Before entering Tianyan Pond, he had already received help from 2 major sects. Snow Wolf sect and Xianming sect are both sects in Mingzhou territory and are not inferior to Qinghua Academy. The strength of Wu Sheng and Mensu is not simple either. Most people are no match for them. With this capital, Xiao Xian couldn't help but feel a little moved. Could it be that this time, he really had a chance to compete for the high-level Skyflame Beast essence? That's it? It would be a little inappropriate if I didn't express my support for you, wouldn't it? Wu Bingqing looked at Xiao Xian and smiled. Does it mean that you are not interested in the baptism of the 8 dragons? Or, that you are not interested in King Hua Taishu? Hear this. Xiao Xian couldn't help but was stunned, and was a little excited for a moment. He had heard Wu Meng talk about this before, King Hua Taishu, which was a real earth-level Taoist skill. Such a level of Taoism. Even Kangshen realm practitioners would be interested? Of course not. I've also heard of the King Hua body technique. It seems that only practitioners who have been baptized by the 8 dragons are eligible for it, right? Xiao Xian said directly. Wu Bingqing nodded. You are right. The so-called wealth is gained through danger. Since you want to be baptized by the 8 dragons, you will naturally have to pay some price, right? All right. You'll know what's going on when you get in. The first time I entered Tianyan Pond, I was a little nervous, but it was different after I entered. Wu Sheng said proactively. After saying that, he also took the Xianming sex people and walked directly towards Tianyan Pond. Mensu also nodded slightly and walked inside with the people from the Snow Wolf sect. Xiao Xian and Wu Bingqing looked at each other. He also followed. Jump into the Tianyan Pond. Xiao Xian first felt that a strong breath of heavenly flame swept towards his body, and this breath also carried hot heavenly flame energy. Under such energy, the power of the avenue in his body has become much sluggish. Amazing. The heavenly flame energy in this place can actually control the power of the great Dao in the human body. Xiao Xian was secretly surprised. In the Tianyan Pond, although the Tianyan Pond water is everywhere, the visibility is not low. After using the power of the avenue to create a vacant space for yourself, Xiao Xian can also breathe normally. Let's go. If your target is the giant Skyflame beast, just go directly to the depths of the Skyflame Pond, Wu Bingqing said. Good. Understanding of Tianyanji. Xiao Xian is naturally far inferior to Wu Bingqing. Needless to say, he is also obedient. Whoosh. Just saying. A ferocious-looking Skyflame beast suddenly appeared in front of him. This time, Xiao Xian really saw the appearance of the Skyflame beast. He saw that the Skyflame beast was 2 or 3 meters long. There is a single horn on its head, and its body is covered with fish scales. The forelimbs and hind limbs are short and thick. It looks very clumsy. However, the speed at which the Skyflame beast swam in the Skyflame pool surprised Xiao Xian. Almost instantly. On this day, the flame beast rushed over from a place more than 10 meters away. He opened his big mouth and bit directly on Xiao Xian's head. A little bit of speed and power. However, the strength is a bit weak. Xiao Xian could tell it at a glance. This heavenly flame beast was only at the peak of the spiritual god realm. The heavenly wolf sword was unsheathed like lightning. Just split it in half. A red sky flame essence appeared. Later, Xiao Xian took out a jade bottle and collected the Tianyan essence into it. What is this? A test. Xiao Xian saw that after the sky flame beast failed to attack, the sky flame beast in the distance actually avoided it. We really haven't thought about it? Then maybe there will be a secret treasure. It is not a new thing that monsters have intelligence. Are the flame beasts a little too smart these days? However, if there is something that can unlock the spiritual intelligence of monsters without limit, it is enough to prove that this secret treasure must be extremely precious. Even he felt it. Interesting. The strength of the monster beast has exceeded the blue god realm, and has come into contact with the golden god realm, and even the dragon god realm. As long as it reaches level 4 or above, it is normal for monsters of level 5 or 6 to appear spiritually intelligent. Xiao Xian's eyes lit up. Wu Bingqing shook his head and said. And based on his previous experience, in a place like Tianyang Pond, being able to unlock the spiritual intelligence of monsters without limit is enough to prove some problems. It's getting more and more difficult to hunt them now. Xiao Xian suddenly asked. Those sky flame beasts he saw just now were clearly only at the spiritual god realm, so why did they still have the idea of seeking advantages and avoiding disadvantages? It is normal to have spiritual intelligence. In recent years, with the hunting of various major sects, the sky flame beast has also gained intelligence. When asked this question, Wu Bingqing's movements were obviously slow, but he still said, "Your suspicion is very reasonable. In fact, for such a long time, our sect in the Mingzhou domain has also had this suspicion." You say. But let's talk about it. After all, after reaching this level only, he actually has intelligence. These monsters will definitely not appear intelligent for no reason. Wu Bingqing explained, so, sometimes we have to actively search for them, which becomes increasingly difficult. There is no sect leader who can find out what the reason is. What makes Xiao Xian feel confused now? Secret treasure. When things go wrong, there must be monsters. Xiao Xian felt a little strange. Those skyflame beasts just now deliberately lured him to explore inside the skyflame pond. Wu Bingqing was obviously a little surprised and said, but it is undeniable that if there is such a secret treasure, it will also be protected by the monsters in the Tianyang pond. It is not easy to get it. Even monsters can have some understanding of the origins of Dao continent. Good. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 853. But let's talk about it. There used to be some legends about the secret treasures in Tianyang Pond. Wu Bingqing hesitated for a moment and said, according to legend, the body of this Tianyang pool was originally a drop of blood from a strong man in the dragon god realm. Later, the powerful energy in the blood condensed this Tianyang pool and gave birth to countless skyflame beasts. A strong man in the dragon god realm. Xiao Xian was a little surprised. He could roughly imagine that there must be many reasons for Tianyang Pond to exist as this kind of holy land for trials. But he really didn't expect that. This actually has something to do with a strong man in the dragon god realm. According to the information he had received before, there was not a single strong person in the dragon god realm in the entire eastern wilderness continent. And the other 3 continents. The reason why the earth can be split into continents is because there are strong men in the dragon god realm sitting there. Although, for Xiao Xian now, these legends are a bit too far away, but people always have to have dreams. Perhaps Xiao Xian is still in the ordinary spiritual god realm now. Who can know? One day in the future, can't he become a true dragon god realm, or even a person more powerful than the dragon god realm? The blood of the dragon god realm. How can it be so terrifying? Xiao Xian was secretly speechless. He is also becoming more and more interested in the legendary cultivators. He only knew that in the spiritual realm, there were golden skin, jade bones, and refined flesh, which meant that every time he reached a realm, part of the cultivator's body would change. Now it seems. Not just the spiritual realm. Reaching the blue god realm, the golden body realm, or even the dragon god realm. Various changes will also occur in the body of the cultivator, which is definitely something worthy of attention. Perhaps, a cultivator wants to become stronger. You need all kinds of chances and opportunities to make your body stronger and harder. This is also the only way to practice. What's on your mind? When Wu Bingqing saw Xiao Xian standing still, he also urged his Taoist power and walked over, Do you still want to understand the Taoist understanding of a strong man in the dragon god realm? I'm still somewhat self-aware. Xiao Xian was embarrassed for a while, but finally shook his head. Don't worry, I haven't had this idea yet. Indeed. He is now in the spiritual realm. If you want to understand the great path of dragon god realm, this is indeed a bit overestimating one's capabilities. Isn't this like a child who has just learned to walk learning how to fight on the 100-meter trapeze? Thinking of this, he shook his head mockingly. Would you like to know the name of the dragon god realm expert who created this Tianyan pond? Wu Bingqing said casually. What's it called? Xiao Xian also asked. Old Man Tianyan. It is said that this old man Tianyan accidentally encountered a celestial flame when he was practicing. In the end, he entered the Tao with Tianyan and became a strong man in the dragon god realm. Wu Bingqing simply said a few more words. This old man Tianyan is the only strong man in the dragon god realm in our eastern wilderness continent for hundreds of years. Say it. Xiao Xian's expression also changed slightly. He once imagined that in the legend, the only dragon god in the eastern wilderness continent must be an upright man. But now it seems. Something seems a little strange. The reason why this old man Tianyan was able to achieve the dragon god realm was because of the flames from outside the sky. This is somewhat unbelievable. Is it possible, in the vast eastern wilderness continent? If you want to achieve a dragon god realm, you have to rely on the outside. Is this a coincidence or fate? If there hadn't been that handful of flames from the sky at that time, wouldn't there have been such a strong man as old man Tianyan in the eastern wilderness continent? What are you thinking about? Is it possible that you have really understood the great way of old man Tianyan? Wu Bingqing's eyes were a little more curious. If it were someone else, she would naturally not say this, but now that the person she was facing was Xiao Xian, she had to be curious. After all, it's been so long. Xiao Xian surprised everyone too much. From a certain perspective, Wu Bingqing was sometimes not sure how many surprises Xiao Xian could bring her. How can this be? Are you thinking too highly of me? Xiao Xian was a little dumbfounded. If I really had this ability, how could I still be in the spiritual god realm now? As long as you understand the path of a strong man in the dragon god realm, you can reach the blue god realm, right? Originally, Wu Bingqing was still a little suspicious. But now, being asked this question by Xiao Xian, she felt a little embarrassed. Think about it carefully. That seems to be the case. To say that Xiao Xian really has this ability, wouldn't it be too outrageous? You can't blame me. You have shocked others too much. I'm afraid, as long as you are a person, you will be curious about why you are so strong. Wu Bingqing said. In a place like this, fighting and duels are nothing short of normal. Not to mention between different sects, even between the same sex, there will be situations where people take action secretly. Even practitioners. Just when the two of them were crossing a water hole. Not to mention, it is not easy to find a sky flame beast of this level. Even if you find it, it will take some effort to kill it. Xiao Xian also nodded secretly. Xiao Xian also couldn't laugh or cry. Only then in the Tianyan pond did they feel a little safer with each other. Most of these people came to rob the sky flame beast's soul. After hearing this, near the water hole, with our strength, we should be able to deal with all the sky flame beasts below the blue god realm. Just keep walking. Xiao Xian followed Wu Bingqing and walked all the way towards the depths of Tianyan pond. Both of you. Inside the Tianyan pond. He really didn't expect that he would have such an image in Wu Bingqing's eyes, which was really strange. What are you going to do? Although, before entering the sky flame pond, he did think about killing the sky flame beasts with 5 stars or above in the blue god realm. Fortunately, Xiao Xian and Wu Bingqing trust each other. Wu Bingqing asked with squinted eyes. If you are not careful, you may be attacked by surprise. Alright. Looking at you, it seems like you haven't gained much. Only then did he notice people from the Shillong sect. But even he knew it. In fact, she could roughly judge it without asking too much. From the outside, it looks like just a small pool of water, but inside it is very complicated, with various water holes, cliffs, and corals. But even so, Wu Bing said and continued to walk forward. Everywhere there might be a powerful sky flame beast hidden. This is not a simple matter. Suddenly 5 or 6 big men with weapons came out. Judging from their clothes, they were all from the Shillong sect. They can still feel that there are dangers everywhere in Tianyan Pond. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 854. You two don't have to pretend to be dumbfounded. We, the 6 brothers of the Stone Dragon sect, just want to borrow the essence of the Sky Flame Beast from the 2 of you. As long as the essence is used, our lives will not be harmed. One of the strong men from the Stone Dragon sect came forward. Although the tone is polite, but the attitude is firm. Obviously, they had made up their minds. Seeing Xiao Xian and Wu Bingqing alone, they thought they were easy to bully. What if we don't want to give it? Xiao Xian didn't even blink. That's it, keep your soul and life. There was a hint of sinisterness in the strong man's eyes. Then it depends on whether you have this ability. Xiao Xian's expression changed. The serious sword swung out like lightning and stabbed directly into the strong man's throat, causing scarlet blood to spurt out. The strong man looked at his throat in disbelief. His legs went weak and he fell to his knees. Died. Brother. You killed my eldest brother. Kill them. Changes occurred suddenly. Even Wu Bingqing didn't expect that Xiao Xian, who usually seemed gentle, would act so decisively. In one fell swoop, he killed the strongest person on the opposite side. Kill. Since the fight happened, Xiao Xian had no intention of letting these people go. The heavenly wolf sword was like a golden light. In Xiao Xian's hands, every time he made a move, a Shillong sect practitioner fell to the ground. Wu Bingqing also took action. One of her water jets was even more powerful in the Tianyan Pond. 2 green water ribbons pierced the chests of 2 Shillong sect disciples. 2 streaks of scarlet blood immediately spurted out from the chests of the 2 disciples. 5 or 6 Shillong sect disciples were instantly dispatched by Xiao Xian and Wu Bingqing before they even took action. A bit poor. The 6 of them actually only have 3 pieces of Sky Flame Beast essence. Xiao Xian shook his head regretfully. I thought I had picked up a big fish, but who knew? Now it looks like 6 poor people. Not bad, okay. Just take 3 pieces of the Sky Flame Beast's essence. Wu Bingqing came over to take a look, and by the way opened the 3 people's space magic weapons, and found that there were some Taoist spirit grass and so on inside. This time the fight was a breeze. But the benefits are pretty good. After Xiao Xian saw the treasures in their space magic weapon, he also nodded secretly. No wonder, some powerful disciples like to do these things of robbing families and homes. The speed of collecting resources in this way is much faster than practicing honestly. Ordinary practitioners. I'm afraid it will take several years of practice to accumulate this little resource. However, if you meet a strong person, you can get it in a few minutes. Let's go. It is not advisable to stay in a place of right and wrong for long. If others see it, I'm afraid it will still be a problem. Wu Bingqing reminded. However, they specifically robbed the water cave entrance. Could it be that there is something important in the water cave? Probably. These 6 weaklings are not very strong. The reason why they are standing here seems more like sentry. Being reminded like this, Xiao Xian also felt a little strange. Logically speaking, cultivators with average strength will follow the sect's large army when entering a trial venue such as Tianyan baptism. Although there is not much opportunity. But you can also make scraps and get some scraps. But these 6 guys are good. Their strength is not very good, but they still have the courage to go out alone. Isn't this the way to die? There should be treasures in this water cave. Wu Bingqing came to a conclusion. Xiao Xian also became interested. He directly opened the spirit detection eye and looked into the water hole. Since getting the spirit detection eye, he has gained a lot of convenience from it. Some place where treasure is hidden. As long as he takes a look, he can accurately judge it. When he saw it, it was no exception. I saw a piece of red light flashing continuously in the deep water cave. It was obvious that there was a treasure inside. The red light should not be the giant sky flame beast. Xiao Xian thought about it. If his prediction was correct, the giant sky flame beast should be considered the most precious treasure in the sky flame pool. If the spiritual eye finds it, naturally it should also be golden light. Therefore, this red light should be something weaker than the giant sky flame beast. What on earth is this? How about it? Would you like to go in and take a look? Wu Bingqing was obviously also interested. It is said that in general, the treasures in the baptism of Tianyan will be in the water caves. If you want to find them, you have to risk yourself. After hearing this, Xiao Xian was a little curious instead. Before, he had only heard that there was a giant skyflame beast in the skyflame baptism, but he seemed to have never heard that there were treasures. What treasure? I haven't heard of the existence of treasures before. Xiao Xian couldn't help but be curious. Is there something I don't know about in this? It's not that important. Actually, strictly speaking, this is not a treasure, it is just some great understanding in the blood of old man Tianyan. Hearing Xiao Xian's words, Wu Bingqing was stunned for a moment, and then explained, it is said that after reaching the level of old man Tianyan, all kinds of avenues will be figured out. Ordinary cultivators like us can get enlightenment as long as they get the slightest bit of it. It's amazing be useful. I see. In that case, the things in the water cave are really treasures. Xiao Xian nodded secretly. Since the last time he got Gongsun Heiswaji swordsmanship, he hasn't gotten anything else to improve his understanding of the avenue. Did not expect. This time I met him unexpectedly during the baptism of Tianyan. If he can make good use of this opportunity, his understanding of the great Dao may be able to go a step further. This will enhance his strength. Raising the realm to the Kangshen realm will definitely be of great help. That's true. But here's what you need to know. For some cultivators, they don't have the strength to obtain the giant skyflame beast, so they will focus more on finding the avenue to understand. Wu Bingqing reminded, so, from a certain perspective, the struggle for the understanding of the Dao is not weak at all, and it will even be more intense than the Tianyan essence. Hear this explanation. Xiao Xian also nodded to express his understanding. After all, there are so many powerful people in the heavenly flame baptism. Under such circumstances, it will definitely not be easy to capture the heavenly flame essence of the giant heavenly flame beast. But from a certain perspective, this kind of thing is different when it comes to understanding the great path. As long as you are lucky, you can get enlightenment on a stone, a big tree, or even some spiritual grass or river. Such things are nowhere to be found, and it takes no effort to get them. Ordinary practitioners. If you want to get it, you may only need a little bit of luck. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 855. Tianyan Pond, inside the water cave. On one side is the Xianming sect dressed in black, and on the other side is the Shillong sect dressed in white. The leader of the Shillong sect is a fat white man with a bald head. At this moment, there are more than a dozen strong men behind him who are also cultivating the body. On the other hand, there are only 3 or 4 people in Xianming sect. Each of these 3 or 4 people is not weak in strength, but they are a little scared when faced with the siege of more than a dozen strong men. I read. You 3 should get out of here. Wu Sheng is not here, you are no match for me, Xianming sect is no match for me, Shillong sect. The leading disciple of Shillong sect sneered. Several disciples of Xianming sect also looked gloomy. The 3 of them had just fought against people like Shillong sect. When it comes to a one-on-one decisive battle, the people from the Shillong sect were no match for them. However, there were so many people on the opposite side this time, and they were a little wary. Of course, the most important thing is, their boss Wu Sheng is not here. But the leading disciple of Shillong sect is there. The lack of top-level combat power caused their side to suffer a great loss. How? See what you mean, don't you plan to leave? The leading disciple of Shillong sect looked a little gloomy. Do you think that with the 3 of you, you can drag Wu Sheng to come? Say it. The expressions of the 3 disciples of Xianming sect also changed slightly. In fact, what the leading disciple said was right, and this was indeed their plan. Although the 3 of them are not opponents of Shillong sect and others, if they can wait until Wu Sheng arrives, things are different. With Wu Sheng present and the other disciples of Xianming sect, they can easily defeat the people of Shillong sect. Unexpectedly, the leading disciple of Shillong sect. He is 5 big and 3 thick, but his heart is as thin as a hair. He was able to accurately guess what they were thinking. Excuse me. You won't see Wu Sheng anymore. After the leading disciple of the Shillong sect finished speaking, his body instantly grew a bit bigger, and like a giant grey dragon, he crashed directly into a disciple of the Xianming sect. Sudden attack. Even the disciples of Xianming sect didn't react. They quickly dispersed, but even though they reacted quickly, the leading disciple finally seized the opportunity. A Xianming sect disciple was caught when he went up. The other 2 disciples were also knocked away. Moment. The 3 Xianming sect disciples were all injured. What made them even more desperate was that the Xianming Qi in them had no reaction at all when it attacked the leading disciple. Still not retreating. Court death. The leading disciple of Shillong sect was also angry. Let me show you what power is. The grey-white giant man roared angrily. He bumped into the 3 of them again. His huge body was so intimidating that he actually planned to kill them directly. What an arrogant Shillong section. Even if we have a destiny, there is no need to go into such a big fight, right? Just when the grey-white giant took action. At the entrance of the water cave, Xiao Xian and Wu Bingqing came out. Saw them both. The people of Xianming sect suddenly brightened up. They knew that Wu Sheng had a good relationship with Xiao Xian before, and they even took the initiative to communicate before entering the baptism of Tianyan. Maybe Xiao Xian will take action? Xiao Xian, are you going to take action? The leading disciple of Shillong sect looked a little ugly. Before, I didn't ask you to settle the matter in Qinglian Valley, but I didn't expect that you would dare to come out on your own initiative. Are you looking for death? Originally, Xiao Xian just said a casual word. Who knows? The leading disciple of Shillong sect actually said such a thing on his own initiative. For a moment, Xiao Xian realized something. When in Qinglian Valley, Shi Qing and Li Guangdao both died in his hands. This matter was forcibly erased by Mensu. Some disciples may not be able to remember this incident. But now, listen to the words of this leading disciple of Shillong sect. They actually planned to blame him for this. This made him secretly frightened. It seems that not all people in Shillong sect are fools. In this case, he really needs to think carefully about whether he wants to solve the problem once and for all today. He. So, you are going to put all these things on my head. Xiao Xian looked a little disdainful. You mean, Do you think you can solve me today? The face of the leading disciple of Shillong sect changed slightly. He really didn't expect it. At this moment, Xiao Xian was able to use such a confident attitude, as if he didn't care about anything. This is a bit strange. According to the information before entering the baptism of Tianyan, Xiao Xian is not the leading disciple of King Hua Academy, and he is definitely not the strongest at what he does. So, where is his confidence? Xiao Xian, I heard that you gained a lot of benefits in the Qinglian Valley. Even Shi Qing, old man Shillong's disciple, was lost in the Qinglian Valley. Aren't there 5 or 6 people at the entrance of the water cave? Xiao Xuanyun was calm and took out the space magic weapon that he had used to kill the disciples before. It's a pity that they are already dead. Although they have never fought against Wu Bingqing, they all know that with this reputation, her strength must not be weak. Xiao Xian and the others don't need to care. 6 people, all dead. What if you add me? Now, they have Xiao Xian and Wu Bingqing to help them. Were all the disciples of their sect killed by Wu Bingqing and Xiao Xian? This is a bit stressful for them. The leading disciple of Shillong sect said coldly, but if you think that you can defeat so many of us, you are a bit naive. There is also Wu Sheng who doesn't know when he will come. Coupled with the upcoming Wu Sheng, their Shillong sect is really under a bit of pressure. Why was he killed so quickly? It was impossible to watch his sect disciples being beaten like this. Although those disciples could not be said to be very powerful, they were carefully selected from the sect and were all at the pinnacle of the spiritual god realm. Are they the ones you are looking for? The 2 men joined forces. But soon, he shook his head and denied the idea. If Wu Sheng had come, he would have appeared long ago. Just an ordinary disciple. The leading disciple of Shillong sect was a little irritable. As soon as Xiao Xian and Wu Bingqing appeared, the Xianming sect disciples naturally became excited, while the faces of the Shillong sect disciples next to them were a little confused. He can't. Wu Bingqing also walked out. Then there are not so many polite words to say towards them. Since we have already fallen out before. Damn it! There wasn't even anyone to warn. Died. He regretted now why he didn't get rid of the 3 disciples of Xianming sect just now. What annoyed him even more was that they had arranged 5 or 6 people outside the water cave, but no one came. Tell them to come back quickly. Could it be said that Wu Sheng has already arrived? The leading disciple of Shillong sect was dumbfounded. That means. However, they all knew Wu Bingqing, the second inner disciple of King Hua Academy. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 856. Xiao Xian. Does your King Hua Academy want to completely break up with us? The leading disciple of Shillong sect looked ugly. Have you thought about it? For this childish remark, Xiao Xian simply didn't even bother to respond. Judging from the previous situation, now that the people from the Shillong sect have determined that it was him who killed Shi Qing and other people from the Shillong sect. If that's the case, the grudge between him and the Shillong sect was finally settled. After that, I'm afraid there won't be much need to untie it. Although he does not have the strength to directly deal with everyone in the Shillong sect now, he may not be able to make the Shillong sect regret it one day in the future. But now, Xiao Xian does not plan to let Shillong sect go back directly. At least, everyone from the Shillong sect will die here today. In that case, there is no need for you to go back today. Xiao Xian walked out directly. The pure golden sword energy Gangfeng suddenly appeared and instantly surrounded a dozen Shillong sect disciples. One move. He actually planned to fight a dozen Shillong sect disciples at the same time. Seeing this, the leading disciple of Shillong sect was also shocked and looked at Xiaoxian in disbelief. Before entering the baptism of heavenly flames. Naturally, they have also made judgments and predictions about the strength of various sects in the Mingzhou domain. In the eyes of the Shillong sect, except for Qinglong, who ranks first in the inner sect, and Wu Bingqing, who ranks second in the inner sect, everyone else in Qinghua Academy is not worth mentioning at all. A little-known figure like Xiaoxian. Although within the Qinglian Valley, he is emerging and somewhat famous. But so what? Compared with the real talented disciples, he is just an ordinary person. Moreover, in a place like Qinglian Valley, the competition is not very fierce to begin with, even if you just send an elite disciple there. The final achievement. It may not be less than what Xiaoxian got. Therefore, even if Xiaoxian appears, they will focus more on Wu Bingqing. He didn't take Xiaoxian too seriously. Who knows now? Xiaoxian's move was so powerful that he could even use the sword energy to directly cover everyone in it. With this ability, it was enough to shock the disciples present. Don't panic. Everyone is in the spiritual realm. How can the power of the great Dao in Xiaoxian be so much stronger than ours? Now he is just showing off. When we attack together later, we will definitely be able to kill him. I saw that my disciples were a little nervous. The leading disciple of Shillong sect also understood that at this time, he, the leader, was also needed to take the initiative. It would be best to give Xiaoxian a certain degree of authority. Let him know. The disciples of the Shillong sect are definitely not people who live in vain. Shillong transformation. The leading disciple of Shillong sect roared angrily. The body instantly became petrified, the color of the body became darker, and the two arms became thicker. The whole person looks like a gray rock giant. A fist was waved out, causing the tiger to become windy. It's like a torrent of steel. It's daunting. If such a fist fell on someone, even a strong man in the blue god realm would not dare to confront it head-on. Boom. The strength is not small, but the way the power operates is a bit bad. Ever since I understood the Taoist rhyme of ancient trees, Xiaoxian's understanding of physical horizontal training is different from ordinary people. In his opinion, ordinary people's fists and kicks can be seen through at a glance. As for the leading disciple of Shillong sect in front of him, although his body has been strengthened by the stone dragon technique, his method of exerting power is still very clumsy. It can be said. Even though this guy has been practicing for decades, there is still not much merit in the ways to exert force. Even in Xiaoxian's opinion, it was still very naive, almost to the point of being ridiculous. It was like a martial arts student who had been practicing for several years faced a child who had just learned to walk. Shameless talk. The leading disciple of Shillong sect was a little angry. After all, he is also an elite disciple of the Shillong section. He can lead people to participate in the baptism of Tianyan, so he is naturally highly regarded in the Shillong sect. Who knew that Xiaoxian would be ridiculed like this today? Die. The leading disciple was angry. He no longer hesitated, and his whole body was like a wild bull, directly hitting Xiaoxian. His move was very powerful. It is also a method that many disciples who cultivate the physical body like to use. The purpose is to use this fierce attack method to make the opponent tired of dealing with it, and ultimately defeated. This method seems simple and stupid, but the effect is remarkable. The body of the physical cultivator is already strong, but now it carries impact and actively seeks collision with the opponent. Like a mad elephant. No matter what method the opponent uses, he will suffer some loss. However, if such a method is used on someone who is weaker or equal to oneself, but if faced with someone who is stronger than oneself, one will suffer a big loss. Just like now. This Shillong sect disciple is very confident and thinks that he is much stronger than Xiaoxian. But the final result was a bit of a slap in the face. Under the powerful sword power, the Shillong sect disciple just felt a sharp pain on his head, and a bloodline slowly appeared from his forehead. Then it gradually expanded. In front of a dozen Shillong sect disciples. Their leading disciple was cut in half by a sword. This. Xiaoxian, you actually killed my senior brother. King Hua Academy, are you really going to fall out with our Shillong sect? All the disciples of Shillong sect were shocked. They couldn't believe what they saw, let alone Xiaoxian. To know. Their leading disciple is definitely a core figure in the Shillong section. Even the old man Shillong praised his strength. Originally they thought, in the baptism of Tianyan, no one should be able to harm him except the mysterious Lei Kong. But who knows? Even though he had shown his most powerful state, he was still killed by Xiaoxian's sword? Could it be that Xiaoxian's strength can already be compared with Lei Kong? Take action. Let these people know that our Shillong sect members are definitely not weak hands. Let's take action together. The disciples of Shillong sect were also anxious. Facing Xiaoxian, although he was afraid, he still gritted his teeth and rushed over. Saw this scene. Xiaoxian also smiled. Moths fly into the flame. Although brave, in the face of absolute strength, such an approach is undoubtedly very stupid. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 857. Then take action. Xiaoxian looked back at Wu Bingqing and said, now, it seems it's time for you to take action. For these situations. Wu Bingqing couldn't help but give him a big eye roll. How could she not know that since she had killed the disciples of the Shillong sect, it also meant that their grudges with the Shillong sect had been settled? That being the case, even if she wanted to hide in the future, she couldn't. Then kill him. Wu Bingqing can become the second disciple of the inner sect of King Hua Academy, so he is naturally a decisive person. Even Xiaoxian took action. She was not slow in taking action at all. The originally soft blue water line now turned into an invisible killing weapon. Many disciples were cut off without even reacting. More than a dozen elite disciples of Shillong sect. They were all killed in an instant, and the leading disciple was cut in half with a sword. Under such power, the three disciples of Xianming sect were also shocked. He looked at everything in front of him in disbelief. How could the clean and neat movements of Xiaoxian and Wu Bingqing look like ordinary King Hua Academy disciples? They were clearly the gods of slaughter and killing who had killed countless people. Thank you too for the rescue. The disciples of Xianming sect also took the initiative to express their gratitude. At this moment, they were afraid that Xiaoxian would be slightly dissatisfied and kill them directly. To know. At this moment, the water cave has become a river of blood. Even if there are a few more corpses, no one will care. Even if Wu Sheng comes here. Most likely there won't be many reactions or opinions. Wu Sheng should be here soon, right? The path here should be deep in the water cave, right? Xiaoxian smiled slightly and put the serious sword into its scabbard. Exactly, we originally planned to take it away, but who knew that the Shillong sect disciples would forcefully occupy it later? The Xianming sect disciples quickly explained. I see. Xiaoxian touched his chin. He originally thought about finding an opportunity to get this chance. But now it seems that Xianming sect discovered this fate first, which is a bit difficult to handle. After all, he had just established a cooperative alliance with Wu Sheng. It would be a bit unfair to just tear it up at this time. Senior brother Xiaoxian, don't worry. This fate is meant for those who are capable, and we are willing to give it up voluntarily. The disciples of Xianming sect are not stupid either. They could also see that Xiaoxian's fierce methods just now eliminated all the Shillong sect disciples. It is said that they are specifically here to help them. I'm afraid they themselves won't believe it. At this time, their best choice is to take the initiative to give up De Yuan, so that they may be able to appease Xiaoxian, the god of death. After all, no one knows. If Xiaoxian found that he got nothing after killing so many people, would he still choose to bypass them? In case Xiaoxian decides, let's fight the rabbit and figure out who they are together. They have nowhere to go even if they want to cry. Think of this. The three Xianming sect disciples also made their choices immediately. Regarding their choice, Xiaoxian expressed welcome and approval. It is naturally a good thing to be able to obtain Taoist fate without any bloodshed. But, you took this out voluntarily, didn't I force you? Xiaoxian warned. Of course. If senior brother Xiaoxian hadn't come, we might have lost our lives now, so what's the point of fate? Several Xianming sect disciples also understood very well. Just now, if Xiaoxian hadn't come out, the disciples of Shillong sect would not have been merciful, and they would have killed each other with their attacks. Under such circumstances, the lives of the three of them must be in danger. A drop of kindness will be repaid by a spring. What's more, Xiaoxian's life-saving grace. This kind of kindness is not something you should repay if you don't want to. If you can take the initiative and give up some opportunities, maybe Xiaoxian can make you more decent. But if you go all the way to the dark side, if you risk your life for the sake of fate, then I am afraid that even Xiaoxian will not let you off easily. They still know this very well. Figure these things out. A few of them did not dare to neglect, and after hurriedly pointing out the direction of De Yuan to Xiaoxian, they hurriedly left. But Xiaoxian and Wu Bingqing, facing such enthusiastic attitude from the disciples of Shangxianming sect, I felt a little embarrassed. Okay, you don't need to be like this, right? Isn't it just for these fates that you killed everyone just now? Now that you have obtained it, why bother to show off? Wu Bingqing's voice sounded. It actually made Xiaoxian blush. Indeed. Sometimes, in the face of resources and opportunities, there is indeed no need to be so pretentious. If it should be your own opportunity, then go for it generously. If it should be your own resource, then go for it generously. If you don't have a bit of wolfishness. In a world of cultivation that is full of dangers, wouldn't it be possible to become someone else's prey? Then let's go. Although I am greedy, I also know how to share. This time, we are half together. Xiaoxian laughed and said, I would like to see how powerful and mysterious the Taoist fate left by a strong man in the dragon god realm is. After hearing this, Wu Bingqing also felt warm in her heart. Faced with the fate of a powerful person in the dragon god realm, the first thought in the mind of an ordinary cultivator must be how to swallow it all. I didn't expect to come here to Xiaoxian. Xiaoxian actually still has her in his heart. This alone shows that he is not a selfish person. Xiaoxian and the two walked to the depths of the water cave. Sure enough, the further you go inside, the more you can feel the temperature inside getting higher and higher, and even the color of the water turns slightly red. There are also some mysterious patterns on the stone walls on both sides of the water cave. It was obviously left by man. It's a little different. These patterns seem to contain old man Tianyuan's understanding of the Great Road. If you look at some of them, you should have different insights. Wu Bingqing stretched out her hand and touched some of these patterns. She discovered that these patterns were carved on the stone walls using some kind of secret technique and would not be erased or corroded. Is this a Taoist technique? Or the technique? Xiaoxian was a little moved. The things left behind by the strong ones in the dragon god realm, no matter how ordinary, are enough to give them some understanding of the Great Road. If it is Kung Fu and Taoism, at least it should be heaven-level Taoism and heaven-level skills. Won't. It is said that after reaching the dragon god realm, cultivators no longer rely on external things such as Taoism to fight. Wu Bingqing said, after reaching that state, a cultivator may destroy the heaven and earth and shatter the world with every move he makes. Naturally, he will not fight at will. Hear this. Xiao Xian also nodded secretly. Indeed, when they reach that realm, all the powerful people in the dragon god realm are the top figures on the continent, and what they pursue is not as simple as Taoist skills. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 858. So what are these patterns? Is it possible that when they reach the dragon god realm, their language is different from ours? Xiao Xian was a little helpless. Could it be said that as their realm improves, their language skills will also evolve? After hearing this question, Wu Bingqing was also stunned. For her, this question was indeed a bit difficult to explain. After all, she has never seen the real dragon god realm, and she doesn't know the real situation of the strong ones in the dragon god realm. For hundreds of years, since the death of that old man Tianyan, there will never be another dragon god realm strongman in the eastern wasteland, so no one knows how a dragon god realm strongman cultivates. That's it? That's really troublesome. Xiao Xian couldn't help but frowned. Before, its understanding of Daodao continent mainly relied on the people around it. I didn't expect it now. There are actually things that Wu Bingqing doesn't know about. In this case, it is really a bit troublesome for him to understand the Taoyuan left by the old man Tianyan. What are you going to do? Looking at it now, these Dao rhymes seem a bit hard to understand. Facing the various patterns on the wall, Xiao Xian scratched the back of his head and asked, "Do you have any good ideas?" This can be considered a problem for Wu Bingqing. Although she has seen some things in the world, when it comes to the level of dragon god realm, she has no good solution. In the end, he shook his head with a grimace. After all, it would not be easy to understand such a profound Tao without getting the true teachings of old man Tianyan. There's either a lot of luck involved, or there is a great opportunity. Otherwise, even if you get the inheritance, it will be like getting a heavenly book and you will not be able to understand the essence of it. Then, how about we each understand based on our own abilities? Xiao Xian thought for a while, and finally could only come up with this solution. Obtain the inheritance from the old man Tianyan. Both he and Wu Bingqing contributed, so naturally he couldn't just keep it all to himself, and he directly expressed his willingness to share it equally. For this solution, Wu Bingqing has no other suggestions. Sometimes, opportunities are just like this. It doesn't mean you can gain enlightenment just because you get it. Therefore there are also non-human beings. I will sell some of the great insights of the powerful seniors in the auction house. The reason is that they themselves cannot comprehend the great truth. Sitting cross-legged in front of the stone wall of the water cave, Xiao Xian's powerful spiritual power radiated out, trying to slowly understand the symbols and words on the stone wall. For these weird symbols, speaking of which, it is not uncommon for him. Since he embarked on the path of cultivation, he has encountered many such scenes. What about the inheritance of the Great Road, the reincarnation of the demons, the glory of the gods? Wait for these things. In the course of thousands of years of cultivation, this was not the first time Xiao Xian met him, but this time, he was really a little confused. Because no matter how many times he tried using the power of his soul, in the end, there was no way to unlock the secrets on the stone wall. At first glance, these meaningless symbols and punctuation points are as if they have no connection at all, and have no Taoist charm. But in the dark, however, Xiao Xian could feel that there might be a big secret hidden in these symbols. Brother system, give me some advice. What do these symbols mean? If these things were left by old man Tianyan, he couldn't have left them when he had nothing to do, right? Xiao Xian had no choice but to ask for help from the system. System prompts, these symbols were not left by old man Tianyan, but by old man Tianyan's second disciple, Venerable Mo Yang. What? Didn't you say that Tianyan Pond was transformed into a drop of blood from old man Tianyan? How could the blood of old man Tianyan contain his disciples' understanding of the great path? Xiao Xian was stunned. Is it possible that this venerable Mo Yang has also been to Tianyan Pond before? No, no. When old man Tianyan died, venerable Mo Yang used means to sneak into his blood and comprehend some of old man Tianyan's great ways, so some insights were left behind. This, venerable Mo Yang is ruthless enough. I heard the system explain this. Xiao Xian couldn't help but be secretly surprised. Originally, he thought that when he came to Tianyan Pond, all the insights he gained on the Great Dao should have been left behind by old man Tianyan. Xiao Xian had doubts more than once. But now it seems that's not the case. Venerable Mo Yang is just not worthy of the satisfaction of the system, the system said. Besides, a traitor who killed his master is nothing special. Brother system. Some of the so-called Dao insights are not all those of old man Tianyan. It may even be someone who stands at the top of the continent. Is this system in his body a result of a powerful senior who once lived on the great Dao continent? How could such a proud man kill his master? Venerable Mo Yang killed master. Otherwise, how could the system know so clearly? Brother system. He was able to enter the heavenly flames for baptism. How can the current performance of the system seem to give up on the shopkeeper? Logically speaking, since the system wants him to improve his strength, it should give him some opportunities or treasures, right? We've known each other for a long time, can't you tell me the truth? How do you know this? You can also obtain the Dao comprehension of Venerable Mo Yang in the baptism of heavenly flames. Waited for a while. This should be regarded as the best performance among all the trial disciples, but why doesn't the system indicate anything? Remember, the revival of spiritual energy is a catastrophe that has occurred in the Dao continent for tens of millions of years. If you want to survive the catastrophe safely, you must seize the time to increase your strength. Regarding this, Xiao Xian also secretly slandered. I feel that you are a little different now than before. Could it be that the system is the system, but he has no other identity? Even the disciples of old man Tianyan would sneak into his body? Isn't this a bit strange? Even the system knows all the secrets that happened to old man Tianyan? Is this a little different from his previous attitude? The system replied calmly. Hundreds of years ago, the death of old man Tianyan was due to the betrayal of his apprentice. Not even congratulations. Although this was the first time Xiao Xian heard Venerable Mo Yang's name. Xiao Xian couldn't help but ask, before, if I got a good opportunity, I would get more or less congratulations from you. Why now, after I received the inheritance from Venerable Mo Yang, why didn't you react at all? What the hell? The system took the initiative to reply to Xiao Xian. But he can also roughly judge that a cultivator who can become the disciple of Lord Tianyan must have outstanding strength and amazing talent. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 859. If this is the case. Now that we understand the symbols on the stone wall, we can understand it. Xiao Xian suddenly understood something. According to this theory, the symbols on the stone wall they just saw were actually left by Venerable Mo Yang. Doesn't it belong to old man Tianyan? But there's something wrong with this, isn't it? Even if it was left by Venerable Mo Yang, he wouldn't just leave some inexplicable things, right? Old man Tianyan is a strong man in the dragon god realm. As the disciple of old man Tianyan, Venerable Mo Yang should be a strong man in the realm of the golden god. Such a character. But you won't just scribble and draw randomly, right? Then, there seems to be something wrong. Even Venerable Mo Yang should be at the level of the Golden God. He can't just draw around here when he has nothing to do, right? Xiao Xian asked his question. Yes, these are indeed not graffiti, but Venerable Mo Yang's own understanding of the Great Road, the system said. Does this understanding have reference value for me? Xiao Xian didn't care that much. He has no grievances with Old Man Tianyan and Venerable Mo Yang. He had seen a lot of things like disciples killing their masters, so it didn't make him feel too upset. At most, it would make him lament the harshness of the world. That's all. Now, what he is more concerned about is whether he can get some understanding through the patterns on the stone walls of these water caves. Although Venerable Mo Yang has a bad character, he is the most famous alchemist on the eastern wilderness continent. If I expected it to be good, he should have drawn his understanding of refining medicine on it. If you can understand it, it will be of some benefit. The system said. I see. That's a good thing. If I can learn some alchemy skills on the Great Dao continent, it will also be a help to me. Xiao Xian was also very happy. Changed my mind. He had a different experience when he looked at the patterns on the stone walls. He found that some of them seemed to describe the skills of refining medicine. Wu Bingqing, please change your mind. These patterns may not represent the cultivation of the power of the Great Avenue, but the art of refining medicine. Xiao Xian reminded Wu Bingqing. After hearing this, Wu Bingqing was also stunned for a moment. Just now, he was in the same state as Xiao Xian. He spent a lot of soul power and a lot of effort, but he couldn't feel the mystery of these patterns. Now after Xiao Xian's reminder, she was a little surprised. According to the records, although Old Man Tianyan was an all-rounder, he did not have much outstanding achievements in refining medicine. Why are there records of refining medicine left here? I'll try to understand it. Wu Bingqing frowned and began to concentrate on understanding the patterns in front of her. Good. Xiao Xian said this. Then, he released all the power of his soul and began to understand the power inside these patterns. He vaguely realized that these patterns were like a lock, with something sealed inside. It requires strong spiritual power. Unlock the secrets of patterns. Does he have a chance to get the secret of refining medicine? After realizing this, Xiao Xian was no longer negligent. He released the heaven and earth soul searching technique and began to carefully observe the logic and rules within the patterns. He believes it. Since Old Man Tianyan can choose Venerable Mo Yang as his apprentice. Perhaps, this guy's character is not very good, but his talent should not be bad. After the pure white soul power was released, Xiao Xian began to slowly search for the patterns on the stone wall. Don't give up at every mark. I just hope to find some core issues from it. Hard work pays off. After half an hour of groping, he really discovered the secret of these patterns. It turns out that each pattern represents a kind of elixir. And every pattern is combined to form a prescription. I see. I don't know how Venerable Mo Yang thought that he would put the prescription in this place and in such a secret way. Xiao Xian smiled. You're really lucky, kid. These should be all the prescriptions that Venerable Mo Yang has accumulated in his life. With these things, they should be able to help you a lot. The voice of the system rang. If I remember correctly, this prescription should be called 10,000 gold prescription. The system almost finished speaking. Xiao Xian discovered the name of the prescription. Sure enough, deep inside the pattern, there were 4 bright characters written in big words, 10,000 gold prescription. Is it Venerable Mo Yang's prescription? This $1 million prescription allows him to spend so much effort hiding it. It seems that it should be quite important. Xiao Xian thought to himself, brother system, do you know anything about this 10,000 gold prescription? Let's have some understanding. If you can get this prescription, you can make all the elixirs you need below the realm of the Golden God. The system said. After saying these words, Xiao Xian's eyes suddenly lit up. Now, he is just a little Karami in the spiritual god realm. If you want to discover the final secret on the great Dao continent, you must continue to improve your strength. Kang god realm, golden god realm, and even the dragon god realm in the future. This is the path he must take. In that case, it seems that I have to work hard to get this $1 million prescription. Perhaps this way, we will still have a place on the Dao continent in the future. Xiao Xian secretly made up his mind. The power of the soul is no longer hidden at all. The restrictions in the pattern were gradually broken layer by layer. He could feel that there was indeed some unusual power hidden in this pattern. Break it for me. Even if you are a strong person in the golden god realm, what can you do? Look at the various stubborn restrictions in the pattern. Xiao Xian also secretly became cruel. Apart from anything else, if this venerable Mo Yang were here now, he would definitely have run away long ago. But now this guy is not here. He has nothing to fear. Call. The spiritual power of reality. After bursting out in an instant, the weak restrictions in the pattern slowly dissipated. A golden prescription appeared in front of Xiao Xian's divine palace. A golden prescription. That's great. Now that you've touched me, I won't be polite. Xiao Xian smiled slightly, and with a roll of divine soul power, he directly took back the book in the pattern. A torrent of memories carrying countless mysterious prescriptions. It was instilled directly into his mind. For a moment, he just felt a pain in his head, and then all kinds of prescriptions seemed to be in his mind. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 860. Call. Severe pain in the brain. For a moment, Xiao Xian also felt in a trance. The huge amount of information almost made him faint. However, this pain was the pain of happiness. He knew that such a thing as $1 million prescription was definitely something that could never be found. Most people can't say they can. Even taking a look at it is already a luxury. Especially for alchemists, this kind of thing is simply more attractive than 10 million Dao stones. Something like this. It can be regarded as a trump card after entering the blue god realm. Xiao Xian nodded with satisfaction. Now, he has reached the perfect level of the spiritual god realm. After being baptized by the heavenly flame, entering the blue god realm is almost a certainty. Even though the chaotic destiny promised to him by the system has not been mentioned yet. But with his understanding of the system, in such a big matter, the system will not cheat him, and he will definitely not fall off the chain in the end. What he's going to do now? Just try your best to find some trump cards for yourself before entering the blue god realm. The more trump cards he has, the more confident he will be after entering the blue god realm. Moreover, now that he has a relationship with the Wanjin Chamber of Commerce, from a certain perspective, having a Wanjin prescription must be a good thing for him. From this perspective, in the future, with the Wanjin prescription, it should be easier for him to gain a foothold in the Wanjin Chamber of Commerce. But speaking of it, the names of Wanjin Chamber of Commerce and Wanjin prescription are exactly the same. I don't know if there is any connection between them. Xiao Xian was thinking. Wu Bingqing next to her sighed helplessly. Perhaps the power of the soul was not strong enough. After several attacks on the patterns, she still failed sadly. It did not successfully break through the restrictions above. Failed? Xiao Xian asked tentatively. In the end, I received a big eye roll as a matter of course. He was not surprised by this. After all, both Old Man Tianyan and Venerable Mo Yang were very strong figures. $1 million prescription. Although it was just a soul restriction casually arranged by Venerable Mo Yang. But if it is, without a powerful enough soul power, ordinary people will never be able to break it. Wu Bingqing's failure. It's a matter of course. Looking at you, it seems that you have got a good baby again. Wu Bingqing squinted her eyes and looked at Xiao Xian with a bit of anger. Hey hey. Senior Sister Wu's vision is still as good as ever. Xiao Xian smiled and nodded. Since you have such thoughts, in the end, in this baptism of Tianyan, you will definitely have a good ranking. Pooh. Who wants your compliments? Tell me, what benefits did you get? Wu Bingqing couldn't tell. Xiao Xian was obviously benefiting from his mysterious appearance, and he said directly, "What's wrong? Is there something that even I can't tell you?" Of course not. Since it is Senior Sister Wu who is asking the question, I will naturally tell you everything I know. Xiao Xian didn't hide his secrets and said, "It's a prescription called 10,000 gold prescription. I wonder if Senior Sister Wu has heard of it? A golden prescription. I seem to have some impression, but in my impression, old man Tianyan is not good at refining medicine. How could there be a prescription hidden here?" Wu Bingqing seemed a little puzzled. Xiao Xian was also a little surprised. Originally, he thought that Wu Bingqing, as the Bai Xiaosheng of Dao Dao continent, would be involved in such a big event as Old Man Tianyan and Venerable Mo Yang. You should know more or less. Who knew that even Wu Bingqing didn't know about this kind of thing? What's wrong? Are you surprised? But speaking of it, Old Man Tianyan has learned a lot, and all three of his disciples are capable of controlling an area. It is normal for such a person to leave some prescriptions. Wu Bingqing nodded and said. But after hearing this, Xiao Xian became a little curious. Before, he had only heard from the system that Old Man Tianyan was killed by his disciple, Venerable Mo Yang. Now he was lucky enough to get the prescription from Venerable Mo Yang. Therefore, he can be considered to have some relationship with the Old Man Tianyan, Venerable Mo Yang. Now that he heard that Old Man Tianyan actually had 3 disciples, he couldn't help but be a little curious. What 3 disciples? Who are they? Sword God, Demonic Dragon. The God of Calligraphy, Mo Wonking. The God of Medicine, Venerable Mo Yang. Wu Bingqing's eyes were full of admiration. After the death of Old Man Tianyan, the 3 of them can be said to have completely inherited his mantle. On the eastern wilderness continent, it was the 3 of them who fought against a continent. Oh! Didn't I say that since Old Man Tianyan, there have been no strong men in the Dragon God realm on the eastern wilderness continent? How come there are still people who resist other continents? Xiao Xian was a little confused. The gap between the spiritual God realm and the blue God realm can be so huge. The gap between the golden God realm and the dragon God realm must not be small. Under such circumstances, how can a few disciples of Old Man Tianyan resist attacks from several continents? Isn't this a joke? Certainly. If they only relied on the power of their golden God realm, they would indeed be unable to resist. However, after Old Man Tianyan fell, he arranged 3 large formations in 3 directions in Ardazhu. Their 3 disciples were in charge of the 3 large formations. The eye of the formation. I really don't know when I see Xiao Xian. Wu Bingqing also explained patiently, speaking of which, Old Man Tianyan is truly the patron saint of our continent. Patron god. Killed by his own apprentice? Xiao Xian was also a little confused. According to the previous principles, it is impossible for the system to deceive him. Then, Old Man Tianyan should have been killed by Venerable Mo Yang, but why did Venerable Mo Yang kill his master? Even after killing his master, can you still hide it from 2 senior brothers? Naturally, this requires some unconventional means. So what is his purpose in doing this? Could it be said that, it is a golden prescription? For a time, Xiao Xian was also a little nervous. He understood that there is a saying that a common man is not guilty, but he is guilty of carrying a jade. Now, although he is just an ordinary cultivator and has not provoked too many people, if others know, he has $1 million prescription. Especially this venerable Mo Yang who exists on the continent knows. I'm afraid it won't end well for him. I see. It seems that senior sister Wu has to keep this matter a secret. When Xiao Xian thought of this, he also said to Wu Bingqing, Sister Wu, the secret in this pattern should be very important. You must not tell others, you know. Wu Bingqing was also a little surprised by this. She didn't understand why Xiao Xian said that for a while, but in the end she nodded seriously and said, Don't worry, I'm not a big talker, and I won't talk nonsense everywhere.